A colony of what? Let's see if IMDb can fill us in on that. Professor Se Jeong attends a biotech conference only to witness it spiral into catastrophe when a rapidly mutating virus is unleashed. As the outbreak spreads, the infected begin to transform. Authorities seal off the entire facility. The infected. Yeah, we know what that means. Alright, so yeah, I don't know if I butchered that professor's name or not, but we'll go with that. Anyway, this is new film coming out with the same director who did Train to Busan, so definitely started something with that movie and doing zombies or the infected, whichever you prefer, in a very interesting way. And he's going to bring us a new film and with a little something added to the zombies that he's already created, and very interesting. And I'll touch on that here shortly. But yeah, obviously, I think lots of us would agree that that's one of the better zombie movies out there, especially when it comes to, I guess, fast-moving zombies and so forth. So definitely was excited to kind of be able to catch this one because of that. Didn't know too much about the plot of it. Did receive a little bit of information and shared it. But tried not to get too far into it because I just once I kind of knew it was the same director, and I was like, oh, a chance to see these zombies in action again. I was down for that. Didn't really care too much about what was going to be the storyline and so forth. But definitely had some interesting stuff, and I'll talk on that here in a second. I will say, as far as spoilers and spoiler alert, I will touch a little bit on what the zombies are here and what kind of makes them different and new and unique to this story as opposed to Train to Busan and so forth. I'm not going to say that maybe what happens with these zombies is completely unique and never been done before. Always hard to tell in different opinions and so forth. But I thought it made it different enough here. To definitely enjoy. So I will touch on it a little. I will try not to give away every single aspect of it. So if you don't want to be spoiled in that regard, maybe you can think about that if you want to move on or not. Definitely some twists and turns in it. I will try to leave a lot of that out. Really prefer that you guys kind of get to take in this movie without me giving a lot away, so I will try to be as careful as possible and save as much as possible for you guys to kind of catch. I'm looking at it, just while I'm looking down here at it, it is 2 hours long, so that gonna get plenty of movie here, so that is a good thing. So yeah, as far as the story and a little bit about what's going on here. Early on, this professor does go to this conference. It is talking about, some new technology and so forth, and a certain way to, I guess, I'm not gonna get into too far. You watch, when you watch the movie, you can see the presentation and so forth, and what is going on there. But her goal here in going to this conference or whatever is to get a chance to meet the main head of this technology and so forth, and she's with someone who's there who can introduce her, but she never really gets a chance to talk to him. He's kind of rushes off to his office in this facility, and he's kind of alerted that this other person who I guess has some issues with this company and this guy, might be there, might commit a terrorist act or so forth. So they kind of have their own like security force or so forth that's on the lookout and kind of alerts him as he goes to his office. Of course, this guy is going to avoid it and have a confrontation with the head of this medical team or medical conference or so forth, whatever you want to call it, and biotech conference, I should say. And they have a interesting discussion basically about some of the technology and who stole what and whose idea is what, that kind of thing going on. We've seen that before. And not too far into it, a struggle begins, and the head of the conference here is going to get injected with something, and that's obviously going to start this zombie outbreak here in this conference. And he quickly moves on, bites one person, that moves on, and we know how the spread begins. So kind of as that kind of takes place, we meet a couple of the other characters. Like I said, we meet this professor, we meet a couple of other people that are going to be part of this eventual survivor group here that the film is going to follow. So you're going to meet these characters and so forth. We meet a few more as a kind of a rescue scene kind of unfolds, and that's going to kind of form this group of people that are going to kind of move on in the story. It's going to kind of take place kind of in this, starts off in this conference center, but I guess this conference center also is kind of a mall, so it also has that. Ends up being a big building, different floors and so forth. And as the outbreak kind of occurs, they're going to get trapped here. As people find out on the outside what's going on here, the building is basically going to be on shutdown. So this group of survivors obviously has to survive, the zombies, and try to figure out, can they get out, and so forth. Is there anybody on the outside that can help them? The security force that was supposed to protect the guy does show up, but that's doesn't really become a terrific option either. As basically everybody just becomes one group here and tries to get out. Everybody else basically has become a zombie here, and so forth. So, in a somewhat familiar setting, a little bit of a mall setting. We've seen zombies in a mall before. And so we get a little bit of that. And, as they move up and down floors as the movie goes on, you get a little bit of different settings and so forth in this building. But yeah, I mean, that's kind of keeping it as simple as I can. Obviously, they want to survive, don't want to get bit and so forth, and figure out, how they're going to escape these zombies. So as far as the zombies here, and what I will say for them is one, they're kind of similar to the ones in Train to Busan. They're running zombies. They're not standing still zombies. They do some weird movements with their bodies and twisting and turning and so forth, which I think is just freaking fantastic and cool. All respect to the slow walking zombies and everything that's been done with them over time, but I've just kind of always leaned the way of fast-moving zombies, because if they're gonna outrun you or they're gonna chase you down, and definitely ones that do freaky moves like this, I mean, it's just plenty scary that they're just moving like that. I think it's just that much more of a challenge when they can outrun you if they can and catch you. And obviously, as we saw in Train to Busan, they are in large numbers that are moving. And here, the numbers grow as the movie kind of goes on. I guess one thing that kind of works in the favor of the survivors is being on different floors, there's different amounts of zombies and so forth. It's not always a huge amount. So that kind of helps. But yeah, I just like the fast ones moving, whatever. I think in certain situations in the slow, moving zombie world, if you get caught, that's on you, really. I mean, obviously, sometimes, you watch it and you're like, yeah, okay, they snuck on them or they fell asleep or what at the wheel and blah blah blah. But other times it's like, well, you deserve to get eaten because you just put yourself in a bad situation. Or couldn't you just walk faster? I don't know. Anyway, but the zombies here, like I said, are going to have something different. And let's just say, like I said, I don't want to give away everything of it. But I will say definitely pay attention when the film kind of opens and they're giving this presentation and kind of what they're talking about. Pay attention to that. The professor who's here, she's also going to kind of discuss it, and they're going to make kind of clear, once she kind of sees the zombies and kind of, gets a look at what they're doing and so forth. She's also going to kind of mention, what they're doing and so forth. So if you kind of miss that conference and what they're talking about, she'll explain it to you kind of and so forth. Then you'll see it. They do a good job of showing you what the zombies are doing. But let's just say the zombies just aren't, just kind of following each other, randomly and aimlessly, just trying to eat anything and everybody that moves. I mean, they kind of are in a way, but here, let's just say there's a little bit more thought behind it and a little bit more teamwork behind it. They are able to kind of learn certain things and as a unit, learn it as a unit. Again, I'm not going to go into details about how exactly that happens and so forth. It is explained, as I said, at the conference, and this professor kind of explains it, the functions of that, and, how these zombies are adapting that and using that to kind of colonize in a way. So which is kind of why I guess they call it the colony. And also there's an animal we'll say animal, so I don't give it completely away, that they're kind of mimicking as well, as part of this. So the zombies obviously are just not as, kind of randomly just moving along as they usually are. So it is an added element for the survivors to kind of overcome. It's not just hiding from the zombies or whatever. It is okay. Now we kind of have to outsmart the zombies in certain ways. And again, it's a good thing that they have the professor there. She has, she kind of knows what they're doing and kind of has a way, a trick or two or so forth to try to help them out. There is something else going on here and further, I guess, expansion on why, we had that rivalry between, the guy who was giving this conference and the guy who started this, I guess, small zombie apocalypse here, if you want to call it that. We're going to find out more about, the evil person here and, why they went ahead and started this zombie apocalypse and so forth. I don't want to touch too much on that. I don't want to spoil any of that. But that person's going to play a role in also what happens as this movie goes on. But, I will say I enjoyed that extra element to the zombies and what they did. Definitely that they're fast moving. Obviously, I think in the kind of the very first moment we see them, and as you've seen them, and you kind of, if you've seen To Train to Busan and some of the movies that followed that, you'll see the zombies and they're very familiar to that and how they act and how they attack people. There's a scene, one of the big early scenes with the zombies is basically, one group of survivors is in one, I guess, store on one side of the mall. Opposite of that is another group of survivors, or people have basically closed their doors, and the zombies are kind of in the walkway of the mall, and zombies are up against one window, then end up going to the other window for certain different reasons, and that's kind of you're kind of thinking, okay, I know this from Train to Busan, they're moving because of this, whatever. But soon enough, you kind of see the zombies then stop and act in a different way. and then you further get that explanation from the professor, and then you, as the movie goes on, you see, why the zombies are doing this and that and so forth, and see the difference. But I again enjoyed a little extra element to the zombies. Enjoyed what they tried to do here with the bad guy in it, and that element of it as well. Enjoyed kind of the story they put together. Um, is it as maybe heartfelt? I know a lot of people in Train to Busan were definitely heartfelt with the father's struggle and to kind of keep his little girl alive. Does it quite reach that kind of element in this version, or I mean, I shouldn't say version. It's not. It doesn't really have anything to do with Train to Busan or anything. But I guess this movie. I guess there are some character relations in it, some characters that you meet, and obviously, not everybody is going to survive. Certain people are going to survive, certain are not. So people are going to die, and I think you do see some relationships there that it's a touch sad, but I don't think any of them truly reached what the father and daughter were in Train to Busan. But they certainly kind of try to sprinkle that in. I think really the focus here is on the zombies and kind of giving them this different element and so forth, and then the survivors trying to survive that and figure out a way against it. So yeah, I'm gonna say that I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed it. Better than Train to Busan again. That's a hard one. I don't think that I'm going to say that. Even with the added element of here to what these zombies do and can do. Obviously, you've seen some nice tricks. With the zombies in other movies, and even Train to Busan, they had a trick or two up their sleeve. But I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed the fast moving zombies. There's just something freaky about it. I liked the element they added to it. Obviously, getting it in subtitles and whatever, it's, obviously hard to judge the acting, with good or not, whatever. I really don't know, what they're truly saying besides for the translation. But, I liked what happened. I liked how they kind of showed you a thing or two, and then later on, that had consequences later on, and there was a twist or turn here and there as well, so I liked that. A lot to like. I don't, I think I've given away and said enough. I don't want to give away anything else or say too much more. Again, I think you guys got it, that if you liked Train to Busan, which I'm guessing you did, and that kind of thing, I think you'll like this one as well. I'm glad to see, them kind of bring these zombies back and do them again. I like it and think they're pretty cool. So with that, I'm going to say this movie's up there for me as far as the movies that I've seen recently and maybe this year. And it's also been a while since I've seen a zombie movie. I don't know that there's been many zombie movies as of late. Maybe the zombie craze has died down a touch. I guess we are getting another Walking Dead, Dead City coming soon. Yeah, I like this one. So I'm thinking I'm gonna give it 4 pools of blood, and I kind of was thinking 4.5, but I don't know. I think 4 pools of blood is good enough, and enjoyed it. I think you guys will enjoy it. Definitely catch it if you can when it formally releases here. Yeah, that'll be 4 pools of blood out of 5. So with that, horrorsquarereviews.blogspot.com is where you can find all my reviews, written and videos. Certainly tons of video reviews for a while now, so you can like and subscribe and do everything else that people do here on YouTube. If not, no worries, it's okay. I thank you for your time regardless. Blue Sky, Facebook, information down below. Feel free to join me there as well. And definitely in the comment section, if you do eventually see this, your thoughts. Definitely, do you like these types of zombies more than maybe some other types of zombies? Your opinion on that, it would be interesting to see. So with that, I will catch you on the next review, horror fans.